So our speaker this afternoon, to get us started, is Jack Murphy. Jack Murphy, of course, is well known to everyone here in New York City through his work. He's also one of the leaders of the Fire Safety Directors Association of Greater New York, which is the group of people who have the regulatory requirements under Local Law 5 and its successors to administer fire safety programs. In addition, he has a very active consulting practice looking at various technologies, which he's going to be talking about today. And he's also very instrumental in the International Code Council and most importantly in helping to agitate to get greater fire service involvement in the code process. And so he's made a lot of contributions and continues to make them across the spectrum of the high-rise fire safety problem. I guess it is a problem. We can accept it's a problem. So without further delay, Jack, thanks for being here.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Chief Hodgins alluded to before, Local Law 5 started the fire directors after the fire at 1 New York Plaza, and the fire directors formed in 1978. After 9/11, the fire directors got together as a small task force and said we need to address these full building evacuations and the buildings that were never designed to be fully evacuated, and how do we do that? So with a collective group of 4 or 5 of us with over 140 years, both in the fire service and dealing with the private side and high-rises, we put together an emergency action plan. We then joined the task force with the fire department, and we rolled that out, and that became part of Local Law 26 in 2004. So with that, we had to retrain all the fire directors out there, and I'm currently doing that in the Fire Science Program Institute at the college here. So I train both fire safety directors and EAP directors, and now construction managers, site safety managers. So just talking a little bit about putting the E back in that. Right after an event, the E is always there. But as we get on with time, the E disappears because everybody gets back to complacency again. So how do you keep that in front of everybody all the time? And that's a hard challenge, particularly when you're dealing with the private sector. All right, so today I'll talk about the owner, and the ultimate in any building, it is the owner's responsibility for that, in that aspect of things. So the owner has to take orders for this, even appointing the fire safety director. Meaningful drills and exercises. At one time they were meaningful. Now just take you to the stair and say 4 floors down, things of that nature. So you get pressure from the public side, and that's what happens. Transportation modes, obviously the stairwells. The other thing is these new OEO elevators. First responders, the things like that, and what we're putting together for them to have more building intelligence ahead of time, and talking about an established fire air replenishment system. Just like standpipes, we were able to pump air into the building that on the 30th floor, the firefighter can fill their packs, air packs. So we'll take you through some of those aspects of things too. Here, the fire safety director, the owner here is obviously required by law to have a fire safety director. But we're saying we want more than just an individual here. We want a competent person in that aspect. To talk here with the fire director, obviously they report to the fire command center. This is the hub. There's a panel there. All the information comes in on a fire side. But on the EAP side, when there's an all hazard, nothing comes into the panel. They have to activate the panel. Implementing the plan itself, and it's quite long in that aspect, and I'll talk about that, and recognizing man-made and natural-made threats that we never had before. And that, in looking at that, we weren't in charge of that. We were just in charge of fire. So now we're trying to do 2 things at the same time. In communications, what has occurred? Is it a fire? Is it a chemical leak? Is it interior of the building, exterior of the building? What part of the EAP plan do I activate? Can I use an elevator? All elevators, stairs, only stairs. Stair goes directly to the street. A lot of variables here too. And one of the big things that fire safety directors have to know is the HVA system. So in an all threat, like an all hazard threat, if it's a chemical release on a floor, how many floors does that HVA system cover? Is it 1? Is it 5? In one building in Midtown there were 2 HVA systems for a 50-story building. 1 to 25, 26 to 50. Kind of tough on that one. And exiting and instructions. In our buildings in New York City, we have an advantage here with the fire safety director. Prior to the arrival of the fire department, in office buildings and hotels, I can direct them to stair A. If they're